What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It is Wednesday. It is the big thing. And man, oh man, we got the crew back finally together. The band is back together. Myself, Steph Sabra, and the grouchiest man alive, Mike Kalinowski. All three of us are back. And there's a lot of news, man. There's a lot of news. Nicholas Hoult cast as Lex Luthor. There is a new movie, Karate Kid movie with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan. And the big story that dropped right before we even started recording this, Dave Filoni has been promoted to run the creative for Star Wars for Lucasfilm with Kathleen Kennedy. He will be overlooking and basically confirming or denying any projects that come through the creative of Star Wars. Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? We'll talk about that and more on today's show. Speaking of shows, if you're able to and you're going to be there, hey man, Burbank on December 2nd. We're going to be doing a stand-up comedy show, and if we can get to 600 patrons, we might see Mike Kalinowski do it. But you got to get there. We got to get to 600 pretty quick. But we hope that you'll join us. So patreon.com/thebigthingshow. We are at 103,000 subscribers now. We're trying to get to 200. We hope that you guys can join us for the journey if you haven't done so already. So I'm excited to talk to Mike and Steph today. Let's get into it. It's the big thing. Let's go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the big thing. Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. And I give thanks because it's the first time in months I have both Steph Sabra,
hello,
Mike Kalinowski,
hello,
the whole crew is here. We're finally back together.
What's up, numbnuts?
Is that my voice?
Yeah, it's like this. It's like an old grandpa that says numbnuts. Not on the. Open the gate, numbnuts. Open the gate.
Shut the hell up.
Steph was excited to watch. She watched our episodes while she was gone.
When I was gonna bust her nuts off.
Yeah. It like fueled me. It fueled me to watch you guys.
Steph, you got a
feud.
story for us before we start. Tell us.
Oh, okay. So in improv, Kristian probably knows this.
I'm versed in improv.
Okay, so right. There's this thing called Park Bench of Truth, right? It's just a warm-up scene where you sit down and you kind of just talk. You're not trying to find a bit, but you share an opinion.
Okay.
So I shared the opinion. So this is a two-parter. I want to hear your opinion on my opinion and then also the reaction to what happened.
Oh, shit.
So I said, I think that there is an onus on men in relationships with women to break the seal on pooping and farting so that their lady feels more comfortable being able. Yeah, like just being a normal human, not being like crazy about it, but just being like not.
Whoops.
Yeah, not having to live in fear or do what I did. Remember that story?
We do that too.
Yeah. So he goes, yeah,
Who's he?
This random guy I was doing the thing with, and the
improv partner.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, I could see that. And he randomly went down this story where he said, the only interaction I have with this was with my last girlfriend when I was brushing my teeth and we had been dating just for a few months. And it was like one of the first times she was sleeping over. And while brushing his teeth, she came in, just took down her pants and started
ripping it.
And I was like,
that's a little different.
Break up.
Yeah.
Like that's.
Well, but here's the question. This is the question that guys will ask in this. But was she hot?
I didn't ask that. She must have been because they lasted for a few years after.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's not great. It's not great. Is it an occurrence that continues to happen?
Yes.
Oh, it does.
So then
like she just fires it off.
It happened again when he was in the shower.
And she's like playing the trumpet like Louis Armstrong.
Right. Yeah. And this is my thing. At first, he was like, that's amazing.
We have all the time in the world.
Yeah. Look what I learned at the supermarket that I could do.
All right.
At first, I was like, he was like, my girlfriend used to, like, it was totally comfortable. I was like, that's great. She's so brave. Like, what a trailblazer. And then he said that, and I said, oh, no, I take back everything I said. That because if a guy did that to me, I'd be like, what the hell is wrong with you?
If you first start dating, it's
and
like
while I'm brushing my teeth,
brushing your teeth, right?
I'm gonna say something here.
Go ahead, babe.
I got thoughts.
Okay.
My lady and I have been together for 6 years.
Right.
Never heard one song.
We have never farted or pooped in front of each other.
Not
Still.
farted?
Really?
Nope. And we both agree. It's just a class thing. I don't fart in front of you guys.
But no, I'm not saying
And
that.
we all do it. We all do it.
Of course. It's never slipped, though.
I don't think so.
In bed?
That's what I'm saying.
If
The
it did
only
in
time
bed,
I've
we have
been
not
caught-
acknowledged it. If it happened in bed where we're sleeping or
Right.
something and one's awake, but we haven't acknowledged it. And like, hey, last night you fucking woke me up.
I wonder if that philosophy would change with 2 children and being married for
Maybe
15
it
years.
would.
Yeah.
But we just don't. Here's the thing. And for the longest time, and this is just a me thing, I would turn the water on when I was peeing. I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
fucking let them know.
Well,
but
I-
now it's to the point,
Do
like,
I got to do zoo sounds again with you today?
no, I don't. So I'll close the
Yeah.
door when I'm like, I've gotten to the point now where I'm just lazy and I sit down to pee half the time. I don't even
That's
stand.
how
I'm just like, I
Harry
gotta
is.
sit down.
Yeah.
I'll even close the door on that. I'm just like, you don't need to see me sitting here like, hey, babe.
Right.
I think it's not. You obviously should be able to talk about it because
Right.
sometimes someone's in the bathroom and you're like, I have to
I'm in here.
have to go.
I'm doing
Yeah,
something,
or
right.
yeah.
Yeah, those
or
are the worst.
I'm in, right.
I gotta go. You gotta get up.
Right,
Let's
you
go.
go-
You're doing your hair. Get the fuck out. I gotta take a
gotta
shit.
go. And so you have to be able to communicate.
Right.
I'm with you where I do like I'm not gonna be like, I have to take a dump. Ooh.
Right. So like what's happening right now, honey? If you could go in the other room, that would
Yeah.
be
Right,
great.
right.
It's just like he's like, I gotta rip it.
yeah.
Listen to this. Let's compare notes.
And then I have friends that probably, and I know they probably do this. They probably take giant dumps when they're proud of them. They send them to their significant other. Like,
No.
look at this bad
No,
boy.
I will tell you that.
Yeah, I've known some people that do that.
Not significant others, but like to friends. Like this is
Of course, you're the
I've
kind of
done
guy
that
that
to
takes
my dad.
sends a
No,
picture
no,
of shit
dumps?
to someone.
No,
Yeah,
never,
you do.
never.
Yes, you do.
No, your face looks like a dump. But no. What happened? Like this is not too long ago.
Oh, here we go.
No, they were doing this whole thing with Rocky. This thread on texts between JTE, Ellis, and
Rocky the
Finstock.
movie.
Yeah, and it was
Okay.
like, and I'm trying to sleep, and I hear my phone going ding, 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 ding. So I turn my phone off, and I woke up to just like a Stephen
29,
King novel,
yeah.
you know. And Ellis was like, oh, just to see what Harloff's gonna say in the morning. That's the first thing I'm looking for, is to wake up all these things. And I walked into the kitchen, I was by myself, and it's like it's probably the same song that girl sang to her boyfriend in the bathroom while he was brushing his teeth into the text, and then I did this.
So you put the audio for it.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, it was a nice song. It was a good song.
my
went,
God.
Louis Armstrong.
and Fred JT responded
Hilarious.
with a big ha ha. No response from Dagnino and
Amazing.
Yeah, so
That's
anyway.
good. All right.
Savage.
Anyway, speaking of changing of the gas, Dave Filoni has been promoted. Big promotion for Dave Filoni. We'll talk about
big
this
promotion.
right now. This was big breaking news here. Dave Filoni promoted to the CCO to oversee all future Star Wars storytelling. Carrie Beck is the new head of development. Lucasfilm is undergoing slight structural changes in its leadership. Dave Filoni, former head of animation, who was promoted to executive creative director at Lucasfilm, will assume the title of chief creative officer at the company. He revealed to Vanity Fair. In the past, Filoni was brought on board projects once they were already in development, like the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which he and Jon Favreau consulted on. Now he will be there from the beginning, and he told the publication, in this new role, it's opened up basically everything that's going on. When we're planning the future of what we're doing now, I'm involved at the inception phase. I'm not telling people what to do, but I do feel I'm trying to help them tell the best story they want to tell. I need to help across the galaxy here, like part of the Jedi Council almost. The announcement comes a month and a half after the end of Ahsoka on Disney+, the first live-action series he was the sole showrunner of. As Filoni explained, it was important for him, before taking on a bigger role in the company, to get his hands dirty in the day-to-day creative process of live-action development after years in the animation division. The first step was to executive produce and direct a few episodes of The Mandalorian back in 2019, aided by the veteran Jon Favreau. With that experience behind him, he then took on the challenge of creating Ahsoka from scratch and bringing it to life. Favreau was an executive producer there too, but from all accounts, it was Filoni's baby all along. Now he feels he has what it takes to guide filmmakers to achieve the best story they want to tell in a galaxy far, far away. To truly help filmmakers, it was really important for me to experience it firsthand. I can also lend a perspective on the challenges that telling these stories will present. I feel more capable of actually being helpful outside of just saying, well, Jedi are like this and Sith are like this. The Vanity Fair article also went out of its way to stress that everything was announced at Star Wars Celebration this past April is still in the works, and Lucasfilm fully intends to release their slate. That includes the live-action series The Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, which are in post-production at the moment, but also the feature films from Charmaine O'Boy-Chinoy, James Mangold, and yes, Dave Filoni. However, it's still unclear what Filoni's next step will be. The Season 2 renewal of Ahsoka, it's not official yet. According to the publication, though, Lucasfilm intends to keep expanding the story of the character in whatever way possible. According to Rosario Dawson, Filoni was working for an outline for season 2 earlier this year. Now that he has control over what stories Star Wars is telling, does he have the power to greenlight it? It doesn't seem that way, as there is another big change in the company. Carrie Beck, the veteran producer who worked hand-in-hand with Filoni on Rebels, was an executive producer on Ahsoka, will also have a brand new title. Beck is now head of development at Lucasfilm, which means she will originate and shepherd the next generation of Star Wars shows and movies. She will be in charge of recruiting storytellers for future Star Wars shows and movies before they go to Filoni to ask about what to do narratively. We're oversimplifying it here, obviously. Kathleen Kennedy remains in the leadership seat, though it does seem like she will have fewer responsibilities and will be delegating some of her previous duties to Beck and Filoni. All right. This is major. And again, that was from the great Miguel Fernandez, friend of the show, and he's been on the show before. This is major. So we'll go through the positives and the negatives of this. I think the positives are what we've talked about for years. This is what Kathleen Kennedy should have done from the get-go. She is able to delegate and say, because Lucasfilm is not just Star Wars. Lucasfilm is managing the stuff you got going on in the parks. Lucasfilm is other projects. Lucasfilm is a bunch of other things that's not just Star Wars. So being able to say, okay, I know that I have these people here that I trust doing that. I have these people here. Report to me. What are you guys working on? Okay, good. All right. Well, if that's what you guys think is going to work creatively, it's my ass on the line. It's your ass on the line. So let's get it done. This is what they should have done a long time ago. She's had Carrie Beck and she's had Dave Filoni. She could have made this move years ago, but I think because of now the crap that they've been in over the last couple of years, whether it was forced upon her or whether she finally said, it's time for me to do this, nonetheless, it's happening, right? Again, positives inside of this article. Dave Filoni basically saying, look, I can talk to these filmmakers and give them the things that like clearly J.J. Abrams and other people didn't have or use, where it was like, let's have a conversation with Dave Filoni, who's going to say, look, no, actually, I think it would benefit you if you did this, this, and this, because this happened in our storyline here. The way that he did with all the filmmakers in Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2, right? Another positive, Carrie Beck, working very hand-to-hand with Filoni, also understands this, put together Rebels, put these things together. She's been part of the family for a bit, and I think that she is going to... This is also why Ahsoka Season 2 is a guarantee. They're very close, the two of them, and it'll work together. So that's a lot of the positives, and there's more positives. The negative, I don't believe, as I said, that Filoni won't be saying, no, we shouldn't do that. Let's not greenlight that. Let's not bring that person to do that. I believe he's already done that. I believe that he does not love certain projects there. I believe that he feels, and I've said this many times in the show, I feel like he holds too damn tight to what Lucas would do. What Lucas would do. There's a lot that I think that's very important. I think it's very important to keep the essence of what George created. Of course it is. But I don't think he loves Andor. I don't think he loves... I've never heard him speak about Andor ever. Heard him talk about Obi-Wan, heard him talk about Boba Fett, heard him talk about everything that was in the Filoniverse. Never heard him say a single word about Andor. And I don't think he liked Knights of the Republic. I think he's probably one of the reasons now that this role, that the Knights of the Republic game got canceled. I don't think you're ever going to see a show. I don't think you'll see any of that stuff. And I think he holds it too close to what George would do, what it wouldn't... Like, you compare the writing of Ahsoka to the writing of Andor, it doesn't even compare. It's like feature film writing as opposed to animation writing. That makes me nervous that's what we're only going to be looking for in these projects. There should be the Filoni-verse and the Filoni-Favreau-verse, and there should be other projects. Now, hopefully, Acolyte plays more in the adult version. But those are my positives and negatives. Steph, where do you lie with this?
I think pretty similarly. The more that I need to rewatch Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, but I think I like Andor more. And I am a little concerned in the fact that my taste is more leaning towards that, and that might not really have a voice in Star Wars future if that's the case.
Right.
Dave Filoni doesn't like it. I think it's good in the sense that if he is just shepherding a creative vision, that could be good if he has really good writers on boards to things. Because I do think he would be better at that than the writing aspect.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike? Is this a positive, negative, both? Like I said, I see a lot of positives and I see some negatives.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so is he now the Feige
It seems like it, which to me is a major positive that they have that role,
Right.
and to have someone doing that. That's a major positive.
That there is a position is a positive.
Yeah.
But if this is going to be like Feige, like the Filoni verse is going to be this, and then the Andor stuff is going to be the Sony adjacent Spider-Man stuff, where it's like, it's out there, but we're really not going to, we'll let them have Jedi and Sith, but they're not really going to be, it's more this, and we're not going to, it's the same, but it's not. Like, again, we've talked about this, and Andor is what I want Star Wars to be. And again, people are going to come at me, Star Wars is wizards and laser swords, and you're blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, I get it, but you gave us that.
Right.
You fed us it. And I love that. And Mando 1 and 2, love. Mando 3, it's the same thing, but it's different.
Well, but
It's just
I'm glad you
different.
brought up Mando 3, because
different.
I'm convinced that Filoni was barely involved in that season at all.
Of 3.
Of 3.
Okay.
Because he was working on timeline wise. How could he be? How could he be?
I don't know.
Now his office. What I'm saying is his office was near. I assume. Like, and he was probably on set. But how involved was he really? And the reason they moved Rick up to do executive producing on that show,
Yeah.
because timeline wise, how in the world could he, when he's writing? He wrote the whole entire series of Ahsoka, and he directed 2 of the episodes, I think.
Yeah.
So how in the world could you both balance that at
Maybe
the same
he's
time?
like-
That's the whole point. Is that the thing is, now if he's going to be doing that, and he's going to be backing off, like, how much is he going to be involved in certain things? How much is he going to be involved in Ahsoka? How much is he going to be involved in his movie? And how much is he going to throw down that, like, the gauntlet of, well, George wouldn't do it this way. Please stay away from that. Let people take chances. That is a detriment to Star Wars if that is the case. Now, I don't know if it is, but if it's only like, no, we'd only do it this way, that is
here's
a
the
big
thing.
mistake.
We need to address that. If he is going to be the Feige, and he's, Feige never said, like, this is the way Stan Lee wanted it. And he realized that there were creators before him with the MCU. This is his version of the MCU, of Star Wars, Filoni. But Lucas, there was no Star Wars before Lucas.
Right.
So it's a tough thing to say. Like, it needs to branch out. If it's going to grow, it needs to branch.
You gotta
and
be able to
do
take shots.
outside of what George Lucas would do.
Because if you look, like, there's a lot of stuff inside of Ahsoka that is way more Star Wars than Andor is. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
and
of
as far
course,
as the
of
essence
course.
of what Star Wars is, but the more mature, better written, better produced, better looking show is Andor. The more exciting show is Ahsoka. But, like, you've got to be able to blend that together and not just do something like Ahsoka. Because Obi-Wan, we all agree, was a big misfire. There's some great stuff in it, but for the most part, it's a misfire.
Yeah.
Same thing. Imagine the kind of in-depth writing that you had on something like Andor in the Obi-Wan series, or even in the Ahsoka series. A little more depth. Again, with these 34, 35-minute episodes, expand on it. And I hope that's one of the notes, right? And the other thing is, too, in a negative, he hasn't produced, because Feige had produced a lot of movies before becoming
was on the first
he was on all the
X-Men.
X-Men. So he
knows what he's
Filoni
doing.
has not produced movies yet.
Mm-hmm.
But again, inside of creative and working with Carrie Beck, again, I think this is overall a positive in the way, because of what we just said. You have someone who is now saying, okay, at least there's a plan. That's what we've always been saying, that at least, even if we don't necessarily love the plan, if the plan is, let's stick by everything that George and the philosophies of everything that George wanted to do. And like I said, I do think that is a positive for when it comes to the quote that we say all the time, that, and Favreau said this, the problem, I think, like J.J. Abrams and these other people were doing, were making movies that was an homage to Star Wars, as they were making an homage to the stuff that Star Wars was inspired by. That kind of stuff, if you're going to hold to that philosophy, I'm on board. But when it comes to, like, there was a lot of mistakes that I think George Lucas made. There's more prequel writing in the Ahsoka stuff, to me, than original trilogy writing. Now, there's also an original trilogy feel. We said that there's a couple scenes you're like, oh, this feels like
For Mandor.
Well, there was some stuff in Ahsoka. When we saw the first 2 episodes, we were like, on the big screen, it looked really good. So I am excited for Filoni's movie. I like the Filoni verse in general, but him running the whole thing, if he starts to blend into this kind of animation style for everything, it could be it could be a problem.
I guess for me, if I'm just stepping back from it, I'm looking at it like, okay, he created Rebels, Clone Wars, that's his thing.
Yeah.
If his universe will focus on that, I might not be as enjoyable as it.
Right.
It just might not be for me. As Ahsoka, as I said, is like people came at me because I didn't like it, but I was like, if you were a fan of Clone Wars and Rebels, that show's for you, and you were just loving life, and it was great for you. So it just didn't work for me.
Too inside baseball.
Not even that. I just was like, the characters were fine. I just didn't care for that kind of stuff.
Right.
It was like, you know, I would prefer, honestly, and here we go. This will be a bad take for me, but I would prefer to watch Boba Fett over Ahsoka if I had to pick the two.
Okay.
And again, Boba Fett is space wizards and laser swords out there.
Yeah, I'm not on that page, but I understand
I know you're
the
not,
point.
but it hit better for me.
Okay.
I also feel like there's a inherent difference between Andor and Ahsoka in the sense that we both know what's going to happen in both of those shows.
Oh.
But I feel like Andor made it mean more to me than Ahsoka. I'm like, you wanted so bad to bring back the troops, and then you made this story around it. Kind of. Does that make sense?
I know what you're
Like
saying.
it's like not as organic to me.
Right.
Even though they both happened.
Yeah, that's writing. It's just the writing.
Do you feel, Steph, that way with Rogue One? Like, we all know the outcome.
That's what she's saying.
We know, but no, not Andor, Rogue One. We know the outcome in a 2-hour movie. We knew what was happening.
Right.
But we loved
But I
it
loved
because the characters we were with.
Well, you're
Right.
setting up new characters. You're setting up because even when we were talking about like Rogue One when it came out, you're like, well, they all have to die.
Yeah.
And they do, and you're like, oh, but it was the way that they wrote it, and it was the way that they did it. It had an impact, and I think there's also a reason why. It's funny, like that movie Rogue One has done. I've done this poll, and it was overwhelming. If you would have asked the question of what was the best Disney movie,
I was just going to ask you that.
Since
What of their group?
If you would have done that question in 2016, 2017, overwhelmingly, or 2017, overwhelmingly would have been The Force Awakens. Overwhelmingly. Today, it's overwhelmingly Andor.
Oh, so you're saying
Rogue One.
So you're saying after Rogue One came out, like a year or two after it, people still would have said Force.
It ages better than anything in the new trilogy.
Absolutely.
It does.
Yeah.
I think it's of its. What do they make? 5 movies?
Yeah.
The 3 and then Solo.
And right.
So out of the 5, Rogue is easily the best.
Easily. And it took a lot of work to get there. And again, Tony Gilroy has done that, and Tony Gilroy has essentially made the series finale already for Andor. So that's the thing when people say, well, we already know what happens. Yeah, but you're essentially watching the series finale. Plus, there's a lot of I don't know what happens to some of these characters that are set up. That the Andy Serkis character,
And Mon Mothma, we don't.
Mon Mothma, the way that where she goes eventually, how like the way they set up, like it's politically, it's just the smartest thing written since.
Dedra.
And again,
We don't know
let
what
me
happens
make
with
it
Dedra.
clear. Let me make it clear that this is a pure speculation on me that Filoni doesn't like this show. But I just never hear him talk about it in the way that he's talked. I've heard him talk a great depth on Boba Fett, great depth on all these other shows, Obi-Wan, and
It's a business, and you play the business.
You play the business, but
you
he's
don't
never
bash a thing you don't like. You just don't talk about it.
right. But isn't that a problem though? If this thing is now one of these shows that it's been nominated out the wazoo for certain awards,
For sure.
and he's going to be the guy who's running it, and he's not talking about it, hasn't talked about it at all, really. I mean, and if I am wrong, and I very well might be, please send me articles where he's talking about it like in depth, because wouldn't you want to get Filoni's take on Andor? Like, I would love to hear his take on it. I've never heard it. Never really heard him go in depth in it because I don't believe he supports it.
And I wish I want to hear him say he loves it, but I feel like I just rewatched the Nolan Batman trilogy, and I feel like Andor is kind of like the difference between the Nolan trilogy and let's say Batman v Superman and the other Batmans. You know, where it's like camp versus a
Detail, structure.
Yeah, like a real. Not real movie.
I
know what you're saying.
But you know what I mean?
Is it too bouge to say cinema versus movie?
Yeah, maybe. Like that's what it feels like when I was watching Dark Knight.
analogy,
I'm like,
what it is.
oh
I
my
get what you're
god!
saying.
And that's how I feel when I'm watching Andor too, where I'm like, oh my god, you
it's
guys
funny.
are like really setting up this world in such a deep
to
way.
say that's kind of why for me the Batman, I still love it, but it's like it goes more to the Nolan trilogy. Whereas I'm at the point now, like with my superheroes, I want some superhero in my superhero movies. Like I just, and that's one of the reasons the Flash hits well for me. They let him be a superhero. They weren't, like you said, the more grounded, more. I get what you guys are both saying.
Like Logan.
I get what you guys are saying.
So you're actually, and it's funny because you're actually making the point for a lot of fans that are, again, people are going to be very much on board with this decision.
Of course. I think everyone's going to love that, the majority.
Yes. And because of what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
They just want Star Wars in Star Wars.
Fun.
They want it to be fun and
Which I get.
And that's one of the major
100%.
points with what will happen here. One of the major positives is that Filoni will get people. Like, you can't deny that even if you didn't love Ahsoka, it still feels like Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, his
100%.
stuff feels like Star Wars. The second when you see Mandalorian, like, he knows, he gets the essence of it. That's a major positive here on what, and probably a reason why this is happening, because if he can get that, if he watches something, and that's I guess it's just a disagreement. Maybe it's a disagreement. Maybe he's gonna be looking around at things and going, well, that's not Star Wars, and what I would do with Star Wars here, and I feel, again, no basis in reality of why I feel this, but like he is going, yeah, Andor. Because remember, I kept saying with Celebration, I kept telling you that when Tony Gilroy was on stage at Celebration, he was talking about 3 seasons of Andor.
Yeah.
And he was talking about 3 seasons, and Diego Luna's like, I only signed up for 2. And Gilroy was like hammering home that he wanted those 3. And I've gotten pushback on that, but maybe it's a Mandela effect. I have no idea. But I remember being in that audience going, oh, they're going to do 3? I thought it was 2. I wouldn't be surprised if Filoni was like, 2's good, and maybe because he's got a very strong voice, as he should, at Lucasfilm. But like, I don't know, man. I just think that there, and this is something I said to somebody the other day when I think I was talking to you about it. When we were talking about Rebels writing, right? Mm-hmm. And I said that if Ahsoka was an animated show,
this is you and I.
Yeah, it would have played really, really well, because there's certain things in animation, the writing, you can, and not because it's kiddish or anything, but it's just a different style. And someone's like, "Oh, I disagree. Rebels was written very well, and it was an animated show." I was like, it was, but if you took the writing from Rebels and you made that exact script in live action, doesn't play the same way.
100%. That's like the point. Like, I would never want them to take Into the Spider-Verse to make that live action. It wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work.
It just wouldn't work. It's just animation, and film is different, and it just, because you can edit things differently, and the flow feels differently, and the way you can animate your characters to do whatever you need them to do, as opposed to dealing with an actor that's got choices, and it's just lines and actors read differently, and it just.
It's less human-like. I'm a big anime fan.
And you love Rebels.
Right. I love Rebels, but it's the constant groan that we all have when we know that they're going to remake an anime show to live action. The one that's done it good...
Cinderella.
Anime is One Piece.
Oh, One Piece. I see what you're saying.
One Piece is really good. The anime is better. And
I have no basis in that, except I've seen the live action.
So when we're talking about like Rebels, I feel the exact same. If Rebels is great, if you did a live action Rebels, which they did, it's not as good to me.
I think that though that does come with writing though too. I think that you could expand upon a story. Like, I do think that if they had,
you have to switch it a little.
I think that there's certain characters and certain things inside of it, and if you would have developed certain things a little bit more, Ahsoka could have been further developed. And one of the things that I talk about with the Obi-Wan thing all the time is like little things that were just left on the table. We talk about like the Obi-Wan's brother. I bring it up all the time. That was the best part of that script. Of that writing was he's talking about, I had a brother, and then it just goes away. You never hear about it ever again. But like, well, where's that? And that was a great moment he had with Leia. It's like, we get it that it's like faster, strong, whatever the faster, more intense, whatever they're going by that philosophy. That's an error. That is an error to just go the faster, more intense. We're in a different time now, especially with television. You got to build characters. That's why a lot of these shows, whether it's Game of Thrones and Stranger Things, there's development inside of character to make us care more, and not just look at this, we have a ship, and that's why Andor develops on character, and that's why so many people are responding to it. And I think that if there was a show that Filoni did that had that element of what Andor has, it would blow Andor out of the water. If you had if Ahsoka had Andor's writing, Andor's in a back seat.
Of course, yeah.
I'm just now thinking back to just how many characters we fell in love with, like Cyril's mom.
Right.
Like the uncle we never even met, but we we had time Dedra.
Yeah.
All these characters because we were with them week after week. And just it wasn't like 22 minutes animated. You've got to get it in. You've got the attention span of that time, and they've got to hit it fast. Whereas like I think that went into Ahsoka and just like, no, slow down. Slow down.
Like who are
Let's
the
take
witches to everyone?
Right.
They showed them once and
they
then
didn't develop
them, and then they show her like transforming. It's like, what's happening?
Because it's stuff in animation you can get away with,
right?
Because you don't have to. Because it's just like it's just happening. It's moving, and again, it's that faster, more intense. And it's like, no, just develop it. Tell me a little bit more about it. And that's what I worry about when it comes to the grand scheme of things. If that's what it is for Mandalorian, and that's what it is for the things that's connected into the Filoniverse, well, that's what it is. That's a style. When it transforms to all of Star Wars, and with superheroes movies, and we're getting tired of just fluff. We're getting tired of it. We want more. Like the audience is looking for more development. You treat the audience a little smarter because. And I brought this point up about like Echo. Now, I don't know what the show's going to be like. I have no idea. But one of the reasons everybody responded to that trailer because it was different. It didn't seem like the same old fluff that we were getting from, and not just Marvel, from DC and these other things. We're getting this, and Star Wars, we're getting the same old fluff. And it's like, that looks different. And it doesn't have to be dark. It doesn't have to, all these things don't have to have blood in it. But again, and the reason why Andor hit for people was because it was developed. And you were like, invested in the story, and that jailbreak episode was one of the best episodes in television that year, right? So I do think there's more positives than negatives.
Yeah, me too.
I think that the negatives for me are more of a concern than it is a negative and 5 years ago, I probably would have done a 4-hour episode of Jedi Council why this is the best decision Star Wars ever made.
Yeah.
But I just think times change, and I think because of I just think from being in media this long and watching the way that companies are held, I just think it's super telling that you can find articles where Filoni is talking about Ahsoka and Obi-Wan and Boba Fett. Silence on Andor. Silence. And that's telling to me. But I don't know. I could be wrong. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think this is an amazing moment for Lucasfilm? It's a big move also because it does I think Miguel kind of mentions this in the article, which we didn't really touch on, and we should actually before I move on. This is also the first steps of Kathleen Kennedy not being in charge 100% of, and I don't want to say this in a way that's like, of course you were going to say that, but this is a good thing for Star Wars because like Kathleen Kennedy stinks. It's because she shouldn't be that involved in that and have that much responsibility for not because of the role itself, is because mentally you're working on all these different things, and you got to figure out what's going on in Star Wars here. Do this, do that, don't do it. Like as I said in the beginning here, trust in the people you have. So having these two roles of both Carrie Beck and Filoni, and having Kathleen Kennedy being able to run Lucasfilm and not just Star Wars, is this a good thing?
Yeah, I think so, because I think she should just be the greatest producer that she is and focus on that. Like, focus on the promotion and the interview, like the whole how you're getting the movies out. Like, she can sell.
So what if, like, this is the kind of thing now that she can do, and besides just selling, right? She can make the calls, and she can make the calls to make it happen. So Filoni and Beck are in the room, and they're and I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, they're like, oh, you know what? I just watched The Killer last night, and we came up with this crazy idea of stormtroopers and this, and like, but it would really be great if we had like a David Fincher to be able to do something like this. But I don't know. I can't. Let's go to Kathy. Let's see if she'll make the call. And they go, look, we have this thing. Can you make the call? And really, we want to get Fincher on board. And she calls and she gets Fincher, and the relationships that she has. That's what a producer does, to be able to, or Spielberg or somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just throwing the names out that her Rolodex is vast.
Yeah, but then does it come back? You get Fincher, you bring him to the table, and he's like, all right, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm seeing. Filoni's like, yeah, it's not really something that George would, in the George Star Wars.
Maybe so, but that's on Filoni and Carrie Beck to go. They should know that before they make that phone call.
If you're bringing someone like Fincher in, he brings.
He was supposed to Return of the Jedi, by the way.
What's up?
He worked on Jedi. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Worked on it. Not supposed to do it. But anyway, But my point more so is not Fincher in general, but just the name that like
Right, I see what you're saying.
she can get it done
Yeah.
in the way that they can't. Because
He's been
and that's
at
what
this
people don't
for
give her
40 years.
forever. And people don't give her credit that way because
Yeah.
of the other stuff that I think rightfully so she gets the criticism for. But there's a lot of things that she can get done that a lot of producers can't. And that's what now she can focus on as opposed to like saying, well, we should do this movie instead of this movie and put that person in there. Let them do that.
Now, her husband is Rob Marshall, right?
Yes.
Now, he's also a very successful producer.
Yeah.
But he's also much more behind the scenes. Like,
Because he's older now.
yeah, but if she would have taken what his path was and not been the figure every time
Right.
a new Star Wars thing is
Right.
announced,
Right.
people wouldn't lump it with her.
Right. You're right.
So maybe she likes that little kind of limelight that he's kind of like, I'm a producer, I'm making great movies.
I think so, and that's a great point. Because
it's-
Steph, like that's the thing though, where we've talked about this. This also gives her a chance to, if she can, step back, let Dave Filoni come out at Star Wars Celebration and announce the slate. Let Dave Filoni bring out the people and go, hey guys, we're doing this, because the audience is going to respond to that and say, okay, because you can tell he loves Star Wars more so than I assume Kathleen Kennedy does, because we've been in the room. Kathleen Kennedy is looking at the prompter and she's reading off the prompter, and it doesn't seem like it's coming from up here. It seems like she's reading the prompter because she's an executive. You want the Kevin Feige, and whether it's Filoni and Beck or just Filoni, I think this is one of the main positives, because you need Filoni or Beck or both of them together coming out doing this conversation.
Yeah. I think she needs to hire like the greatest assistant ever, or like an in-house manager who just is like, if you want to be on camera, like this is what we need to change.
I think this is that change.
That would be great.
Yeah, I think this is that. Like when there's stock stuff, when there's announcements about the company, when there's things that are, even if it's like, okay, hey, we have a big announcement or whatever it might be, and she makes a big announcement. When it comes to like certain movies, let Filoni go out there now. Let him be the speaking, because he's got what he does have. Whether we have certain concerns about him running it, he's got the public's opinion.
He's funny,
and
too.
Lucasfilm does not have
He's
the public
authentic.
right now. Like the Lucasfilm in general doesn't, but he does. So this is why this is a good move, especially if you're going to let him make the announcements, let him be the public figure, let him be the one who's going to go out there. When it comes to Star Wars, right? When it comes to Lucasfilm stuff, she should be out there doing what she does because she runs Lucasfilm. If he's going to run Star Wars, let him be the person that does it. So again, guys, a lot to talk about there. Very curious to hear all your thoughts. Do you share any of our concerns? Do you share none of our concerns? Do you agree with our positives? Do you not agree with our positives? Make sure you go ahead and leave a comment. Click that like button. It helps out tremendously. Oh, all that, I need a glass of wine. And I'm so glad that I now have one, because I got First Leaf, baby. I got First Leaf. I'm going to tell you about both First Leaf and NUTRAFOL right now. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I audibly cheered when I found out that First Leaf was coming on as a sponsor. I cheered. Why? Because I love wine. I love wine. Who doesn't love wine? I am a wine person. I've been really drinking a lot of Pinot Noirs lately, and they sent me them. They sent me one of those. They customize to what you like. Mark Riley's going to lose his mind, by the way, when he finds out that First Leaf is coming on. And they sent me, these are the ones that I got. Look at that. Clearly, the last one is empty. That's right when I got it. Anyway, First Leaf knew exactly what to send me, because they gave me like a little quiz up top. And they said, what do you like? And I love them. They make it so easy to get personalized wine delivered. It's on my schedule. It's right to my door. I choose the day that my shipment comes. I'm never stressed about missing a delivery. And every selection is backed by First Leaf's 100% satisfaction guarantee. It is so good, so easy. I love it. It's great. And it's great being a member, because you get to avoid the overwhelming feeling when I used to go into the aisles of the supermarkets or in the stores in general and go back and forth. And I was like, I don't know what to get. I'm not sure. I know I like this. I'm not sure if I think I like that. I like the taste of that. There had to be a better way. I got the better way. First Leaf. They match award-winning bottles to my taste, so I get just right wines in every shipment. It's wine exploration without the guesswork. If you can tell that I'm excited, you're right. I love it. Look at these. Look at the ones that I got so far. I mean, really, really good. I got I got some Pinot. I got some stuff from Australia. I got the different blends, and I'm telling you, I'm red. I like the red. My wife likes the white. So we made sure we got a couple different ones. Now with the membership, this is the one. This is the one I've been waiting for. I love this one. I love First Leaf. And you guys will too. Give your palate what it really wants with First Leaf. Go to tryfirstleaf.com/bigthing to sign up, and you're going to get your first 6 hand-curated bottles for just $44.95. tryfirstleaf.com/bigthing. Tryfirstleaf.com/bigthing. You will be thanking me. This is awesome. Don't be embarrassed. Don't do it. Listen, did you know that 80% of men will experience hair thinning in their lifetime? It's normal, guys. But it doesn't have to be your fate. You can get ahead of thinning with NUTRAFOL. NUTRAFOL is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement clinically shown to improve your hair growth, visible thickness, and visible scalp coverage. NUTRAFOL's hair growth supplements use physician-formulated, natural, science-backed ingredients. Their drug-free, patented technology provides consistent, reliable results without compromising your sexual health. Go to NUTRAFOL.com/men to take their hair wealth wellness quiz. Identify causes of your thinning hair, and NUTRAFOL will give you a personalized plan for better hair health through whole-body wellness. It works. In a clinical study, 84% of men showed improvement in their hair after 6 months taking NUTRAFOL men's hair growth supplements. Everybody feels this way as you're getting older. You're like, oh man, am I the only one? Why is this happening to me? This and that. We're in an age now where you can get it helped. You can get it fixed. Take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, NUTRAFOL is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to NUTRAFOL.com/men, but you have to enter that promo code BIGTHING. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend NUTRAFOL for healthier hair. NUTRAFOL.com/men. NUTRAFOL.com/men and enter that code BIGTHING. That's NUTRAFOL.com/men, promo code BIGTHING. All right. Thank you to our friends over at First Leaf and NUTRAFOL. Very excited to have both of them on board. And like I said, it's the holiday season, man. You want to send somebody, look, you got to get those 6 curated bottles for $44.95. It's amazing.
What?
Yes. And it's so good. I told you, you're dropping
Missing
the
out,
ball.
Steph.
You're dropping the ball, especially for the holiday season. First Leaf, use that code. It is absolutely fantastic. I love it. And NUTRAFOL, baby, do it. All right, let's get to some other stuff because man, that wasn't even going to be our lead story today, but it was just too big to not make it our lead. Here's the second story. Big news all the way around. We got the Superman cast is starting to fill up now, as they already announced. David Corenswet is, of course, Superman. Rachel Brosnahan is Lois Lane. And then we got Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, which is fantastic casting. 2 more join the crew, and that is both Jimmy Olsen and Miss Tessmacher.
Miss Tessmacher!
Warner Brothers Pictures
Gene Hackman
has set Skylar Gisondo from Santa Clarita's Diet, Booksmart, as Daily Planet photographer Jimmy Olsen, and Portuguese actress model Sarah Sampaio, who is from At Midnight and Billions, as Lex Luthor's doting assistant Eve Tessmacher in James Gunn's new Superman legacy film. Olsen is a core part of Superman lore, working alongside Clark Kent and Lois Lane in the Daily Planet. Jack Larson, Mark McClure, Michael Lanz, Justin Williams, Sam Huntington, Michael Cassidy, Aaron Ashmore, and Makad Brooks have all played the role in the past. Tessmacher first appeared in Richard Donner's original 1978 Superman film and was a creation of several people, including the Godfather author Mario Puzo. So was she created, Mike, from the movies? Was she not in the comics?
I know it's from the 70s.
No, it was
but I don't remember her being in the comics before
I like
that.
that they're doing that. The castings come hot off the heels of the announcement that Nicholas Hoult is Lex Luthor, which also has David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan. Also on board, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl, Edie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific, Anthony Carrigan as Rex Mason, Metamorpho, and Maria Gabriela de Feria as Angela Spica, the engineer. The new film follows Superman as he looks to reconcile his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He is the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way, guided by human kindness in a world that sees kindness as old-fashioned. Gunn penned the script, while DC Studios co-boss Peter Safran produces. Comes out July 11, 2025. Mike, I'm going to start with you. You're the DC guy.
Yep.
So we both talked about Brosnahan and Cornsweet.
That's who we said when there were 3 for each. We were both like, it's these two.
It's got to be those two. And then I said it would be a mistake if you don't get this kid, Nicholas Hoult, as Lex Luthor.
Well, it was between him and Cornsweet at the very end there. And my thought was, it's going
Superman.
Cornsweet, but I go, Hoult, they're going to do Batman. They're going to give him Batman because he did go for Pattinson's, but I was like, no, wait, Batman's going to be older. He's going to have a kid, doesn't fit it. And then that's when I was like, this guy's Lex.
He's Lex. And
There's no way he's killing it at these auditions.
Yeah.
And again, night and day roles. So, but he's such a versatile. He to me is what I think of with Chris Pine, where he's such a good-looking guy, but he is a character actor trapped in a leading man's body.
Yeah,
that guy,
100%.
He is a character actor.
Yeah, and he's got a dark side to him, and he can play it very well. And then I love the casting. I'm not as familiar with the woman who's playing Miss Tessmacher.
She's barely been in. She's primarily
Miss
a model.
Tessmacher!
Shush your hole.
No, the fans are gonna love that.
Go ahead. In the middle of Steph speaking.
I just Googled her. She's a Victoria's Secret angel.
Okay.
So she was
Delightful.
the first Portuguese Sports Illustrated model. So, but I think she's done appearance. I haven't seen her in these shows, but I think she was primarily a model, and then now this is like a big
break.
role, which is cool.
And I think that this kid, this Skylar Gazondo,
We love him.
He has.
I love him.
Mike said it as it came up. The perfect look for Jimmy Olsen.
Look at him.
Perfectly. James Gunn casts brilliantly.
Yes.
He casts brilliantly.
Yes, he does.
You know, there's something. How can we tiptoe? I don't want to tiptoe on this.
Say it.
There's just something sometimes about casting. They're going to go nuts. That is Jimmy Olsen. You're going to put him in a bow tie, and it's going to be Jimmy Olsen.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know how it is. We had a conversation beforehand about casting, and there's the rumors now with Fantastic Four, and people look at it and they're like, well, we had to cast Pedro Pascal because it was looking too white. And people, everyone are coming out, even people of color, saying, what's wrong? It's the Fantastic Four. Just cast the Fantastic Four.
Right.
So they could have, that was a role, Superman you weren't going to change. You weren't going to change Lois Lane. That was a role, depending if it was a different director, a different studio, might have said, let's go a different route with it. You know, and they did it on Supergirl.
Right. Well,
And that's, everyone's going to go nuts. That's Jimmy Olsen. You're going to put a bow tie on him.
Yeah.
And he's going to say, golly, Mr. Kent.
well, look like
and
Miss
he's going to kill
Tessmacher,
it.
right? Miss Tessmacher could be anybody.
Right. Because it's not,
Because
the role is not a Jimmy Olsen. It's not, it's Miss Tessmacher. It's half the people that didn't even watch the Donner movies don't even know who Miss Tessmacher is.
And she could make this role her own, even
and
more
then
so
you're
than the
like,
original
that's
actress.
Mrs. Tessmacher.
Right. And like no one's gonna be able to replace her, even though
Valerie Perrine was pretty
I'm just
damn
saying,
spectacular.
Valerie was great. I'm just
You're
saying
a kid
that-
growing up seeing Miss Tessmacher.
Well, she didn't even know who Miss Tessmacher was. Is what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
For
Right.
Steph, she could be like Miss Tessmacher, and
Sure.
and then they
Is
try
it
to
a big
replace.
role?
I don't know. I mean, she had a major role of what she basically does in the first movie. It's major.
She's her voluptuous, blonde hair, giant boobs out.
She's not blonde. She wears a blonde wig for a second, but it's not blonde.
Okay, here we go.
Come on, man. I think you're a DC fan.
What color
Show
was
a
her
little-
hair then?
It was red.
Sandy blonde.
was
Or was
red.
it red? Get the hell.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Want to bet on? What do you win to bet? Steak dinner?
No, because you don't pay up. You
Shut your
deadbeat
mouth.
loser.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Look, Miss Tessmacher, she was like a sandy blonde. See?
okay.
Sandy
Well-
blonde. Redhead. Shut your mouth.
Hold on. Shut your hole. What's that? What is that?
Don't click on the color corrected picture. Click on the first one.
I don't know.
See, what is
What's
that,
that?
Steph? What is that? Red or sandy blonde?
I would say that's like a blonde.
A blonde?
Yeah.
That ain't even a word.
Yeah, it is for women.
Hold on.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wait, I love her hair.
Let's see what the in 1970s. So let's see what the audience says.
Gosh, I love the 70s.
Here we go. We can do a poll.
It's like, I think it's more brown. I think it's more brown.
Okay. There we'll go brown.
It's more brown.
No blonde, no
so,
red.
So
brown.
it's a push.
But she did that big wig in the one scene. That's what I remember.
Yeah,
that
it was
big
a blonde
scene, you
wig,
remember?
yeah, for sure. When in the end of the first one with
with
the
Lee,
nukes.
not Lee Hagman, Larry Hagman.
Oh yeah.
He was the general.
Yeah. So anyway,
But casting wise, like the roles that you can play with, you play with. But the leads, these iconic kind of characters, especially with DC, you're hitting it out of the park. You're starting over. You've got to knock this out of the park. You can't. This Superman has to hit this movie, and
it for DC. I mean, it's the first one out the gate, like you said. So it's like if this fails, you're in trouble.
like his casting. Like okay, look at back with Drax, Gamora, and these roles. Like there was no idea of what it needed to look like, but he nails with casting. Whether he always seems to cast the best person for the role. Like look at how many people fell in love with Drax, and to take a chance on a wrestler.
Yeah.
And he made it
so
into it.
he does. He knows
how to
works,
cast.
but he not only knows how to cast, he gets the best out of his actors. And like speaking of wrestlers, like I never thought Cena was that good in anything that he was really in. He's in a couple. Like he was in.
I agree completely.
Like he was good in Trainwrecked for the brief thing that he was in. He was good in Cockblockers.
It's all the same
or whatever
character,
it was, Blockers.
though.
Same character, more or less. The dopey kind of
buff guy,
athlete, the buff guy. What James Gunn got out of him in both the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, I mean, it made me
I'll tell you this.
like a fan of John Cena.
Same. I had a full turn on him because I sometimes I'm like, oh man, it's just like it's so kind of camp
Cliche,
act.
yeah.
I'm gonna say something.
I love that
let her finish.
Let her finish.
No, I just that movie, the Suicide Squad, and his show is just I love John Cena now. I'm like, I'm a fan.
I was never a big Peacemaker fan from the 80s, but I do remember him.
Yeah.
But I remembered him completely wrong because I'm now rereading a series called Checkmate from the 80s where Peacemaker shows up. It is 100% Gunn and Cena's character. The over-the-top Mr. Patriot. Like,
He acts the same in the
from the 80s.
great.
See, that's encouraging.
And I remember back, I thought he was more kind of serious, and I thought they were kind of doing a play on it. No, he's 100% the character from the 80s,
which
and they
is encouraging, right?
nail
Because it does kind of prove the point that Gunn is a fan of this stuff.
He does. He
And
knows
makes
his
the
research.
right
He
choices.
knows his.
He makes
he knows
the right
what he's
choices.
doing.
So I mean, I think that the casting should show that he's casting in the story that he wants to make.
Yeah.
And this is encouraging. I think it's a really good cast. I'm excited to see overall how they're going to play with it. I am a little, curious how they're going to play the whole Nathan Fillion stuff. I hope it doesn't. I want it to be a little bit more of a story with the story of Superman more so than.
You think it's populated with a lot of other characters?
I don't think it's going to be. I hope
think
it's
they're
not.
going to be really short scenes.
I hope that's right.
think there's going to be so many cameo type roles in this, and this is all to like fluff out the story.
I mean, look what he did with the Suicide Squad, though. That was a massive cast, and I felt, except for the ones even the ones they killed off at the beginning, they all had their moments.
But it was quick.
It was quick, but you all felt like Javelin.
Yeah.
Right,
The thing
but you
with the
still
whole
focused
storyline
on
is like, I
Harley
want you to take
Quinn.
my Javelin. You can have this. Like
Yeah,
it was like
so good.
But it focused on the core 3 or 4 of them.
Right.
All right. Well, look. So again, let's hear from you guys. What do you think about the casting of Nicholas Hoult, Jimmy Olsen as Tessmacher? Go ahead, comment, tell us exactly what you think. Got one more story we want to talk about. Before we do, I also want to tell you about our wonderful sponsors, both NUTS.com and, of course, AG1. Here you go.
This is the best. Nuts. Get off my nuts. Don't touch my nuts. I love these nuts.
I love them.
Listen, you ever been to a candy store? You ever been to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory? Probably not the last one, but you can get something close. Check this out, nuts.com. Maybe you can't get to the chocolate factory, but I'll get you close enough. The online version of that is nuts.com. Besides just having a lot of great nuts, they have classic candies. They got butterscotch, they got fudge, and licorice. Cashews, almonds, pecans, pistachios, dried mango, crystallized ginger, dates, jelly beans, jawbreakers, root beer barrels. It goes on and on and on at nuts.com. I was so excited to have them come along. I mean, look at that. That's what I got. That's what I've been eating. That's what I've been chewing on. Yeah, and even that little fat pug that I love so much, he loves it too. Although he can't really eat nuts, but he loves smelling them. Nuts.com is your one-stop shop for freshly roasted nuts, dried fruits, sweets, pantry staples like specialty flours, and much more. They have a wide selection and means that there's something for everyone. At Nuts.com, quality, top priority. They roast their nuts and they pop their corn the same day that it ships. They reach you deliciously fresh. Satisfaction is guaranteed, and I can be a testament. Right now, I'm snacking on these because I love these almonds. They're really good. And I know, not ideal when you're telling people about stuff to have food in your face, but I can't stand it to keep them away from me. They're right in front of my face. I have to eat nuts.com. So again, stay away from my nuts. Get your own nuts. Nuts.com. So listen to this deal. Right now, Nuts.com is offering new customers a free gift with purchase and free shipping on orders for $29 or more at Nuts.com/bigthing. So if you check out all the delicious options at Nuts.com/bigthing, you're going to get a free gift and free shipping if you spend $29 or more. Nuts.com/bigthing. Yes, there are a lot more nuts jokes I could have made. I always get excited when I get a chance to talk about AG1.
You guys know, if you've been listening to this show long enough, you know that I've been talking about them. I've been drinking them now for, it's got to be at least 2 years. I started drinking AG1. I think Brett Sheridan told me about it. I said, you can't mess around with this, man. You got to try it. And I did. And it's a foundational nutritional supplement that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, and immune support. Since 2010, AG1 has led the future of foundational nutrition, continuously refining their formula to create a smarter, better way to elevate your baseline health. I've heard so many different people now talking about it since we've been talking about it on this show and how much AG1 has helped them. I talk to you guys, a lot of you guys, when we talk to do one-on-one sessions that I do with people that go, yeah, I started doing AG1 and I love it. It gives me the energy that I need. Parents, I found new parents love this stuff. But everybody loves it. And not only for me did I replace my multivitamin with AG1 because I was never the multivitamin guy. I would try it, and I was like, everyone's telling me, you got to do multivitamins, you got to do multivitamins. And I can't do that many vitamins. One scoop. I put it in a water bottle. I put it in a zoo cup. I shake it up. I'm good to go. I recommended AG1 to everybody, my friends, my family, you guys, and it's worked out. It's great. I get energy. I get a pep in my step. I love AG1, and you guys know how long I've been talking about it. People still they'll tweet and they'll X whatever they X me, and they say, "Hey, AG1, you've been talking about it forever. I'm trying it today," and they never go back. AG1 is the supplement that I trust to provide the support that my body needs daily, and that's why they've been a partner for a long time now. If you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. But you have to go to drinkag1.com/bigthing. Drinkag1.com/bigthing. Check it out. And as I said, holiday season, man. You want to help out the show. You want to help out yourself. You want to get some good gifts. AG1. NUTS.com. That's the way to go. So links in the description. I always pin it as the #1 comment. So make sure you check it out there. All right, jumping around.
How much they paid for NUTS.com.
I thought the same
hell
thing.
of a URL.
Because there's no way that they got it.
No.
Like, just they had to pay for it.
They had to cash
Someone had to have
grab
had that, right?
Someone had to have
Had
done
to.
it. Yeah, and I shudder to think what it used to be.
Right, same.
Well,
same.
maybe it was some porn startup from 20 years
Whatever
ago
it
that
was.
nailed it. That
Dude,
no one used it anymore.
When they told me
It's
that
just a nut
nuts.com
shot.
was coming in, I was so excited. I mean, listen, they
Is
have they have everything. Dude.
NUTS or Z?
Yes, S.
Wow.
Amazing.
And they have
Well
Amazing that
done.
they not even have to get a couple Z's with it.
No.
They got
No,
nuts.
they got nuts.
They have everything. But it's so good. It's
That
like,
alone, they deserve your business.
Right.
But almonds, walnuts, like everything that you
Cashews?
want, everything.
I love
and,
cashews.
and everything. And they also have candy and stuff for it's.
I'm a nut guy. You know me.
Dude. I'm telling you, bust the nuts off.
Butts the nuts off them.
All right, let's get to the last.
They can
story.
have that saying for free.
Okay,
Nuts.com, you can have that. These nuts will bust the nuts off your friends.
Yeah, I'll let them know about that one.
Please
All right,
do.
Here's the next one.
Aren't you glad we're all back together?
Yeah.
The band is back, baby.
Yes.
This is a story that we got to get into because this is hilarious.
Oh,
what
God,
Steph
yes.
said here. Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan are set for the Karate Kid film. Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan are the star of the 1984 and 2010 remake, respectively, are set to reprise their popular characters for the new Karate Kid film at Sony Pictures. Award-winning I'm Not Okay With This and the End of the Effing World creator Jonathan Entwistle is directing the untitled feature, which the studio says will continue the mythology of the original franchise. A global search for a new actor to play the title character launched today, with Chan and Macchio appearing in a new video that you can see below. Rob Lieber, who wrote The Peter Rabbit, while plot specifics are under wraps, it's said that the story is going to follow a teenager from China who is now living in the U.S. East Coast. They find strength and direction via martial arts and a tough but wise mentor. Karen Rosenfeld is producing the film, which aims to begin shooting in the spring ahead of a December 13th, 2024 release. Previously, it was teased that it was going to be a Mr. Miyagi prequel, though that is not the case. The final season of the beloved Cobra Kai series, starring Macchio, is also filming shortly ahead of a late 2024 release. All right, the first thing I ask is, now, after reading all that, you know who Ralph Macchio is?
I know who Ralph Macchio is
Oh,
now.
now you do?
Because I obviously know the Karate Kid.
Right.
He
But you
was
didn't know
my
his name.
first crush.
Well, no, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
No, you
Wow.
can't have a first crush on somebody and not know their name.
Okay, I
Doesn't
didn't know.
count.
I was a child and didn't look up actors' names.
She didn't say, who is that?
You weren't even born when the first Karate Kid came out.
That I hate when people say stupid things.
Oh,
like
do
that.
you? You fucking hate when they say that? You stupid thing like that.
Why would you,
dickhead?
Like after it came out, it was never seen ever again. It came out in 1904 and then it just
Japanese.
disappeared.
Obviously, I saw the Karate
So
Kid.
you're saying to me people would rather if they saw movies on DVD, VHS first, and then like, oh, that's my crush? No.
No, but you said it just the way you said it was like she couldn't have seen it. You
So,
didn't
no,
see it.
that's not what I meant.
So
I
Ralph
meant,
Macchio's not the same kid from The Sandlot, though.
no, see?
Both of those
That's
were my
your-
crushes.
See, the Sandlot you
Tan
probably saw
Kings.
first.
They were tan kings. I didn't know Ralph Macchio
Tan-
was white until like a year
tan-
ago.
Italian.
Tan
Yeah.
Kings?
Oh yeah, spicy white.
Yeah.
Tan Kings and
Kings.
spicy white?
Yeah, Italians are spicy whites.
That's me.
They
I'm
come with us.
I'm Italian.
Yeah, Kalinowski, real Italian.
In the color
Geraci,
wars, we take
smart
the
ass.
Italians.
What's that?
In the color wars, we take the Italians with us.
Spicy white, I like that.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to use myself in castings from now on. They say, what's your description? White? No, I'm spicy
Look at
white.
Mike.
Like
Look at
George
Mike.
Clooney.
Mike got all drapey. and
George
stuff.
Clooney? Yeah.
Spicy white.
Oh, well, he's spicy white as hell.
sure.
That salt and
Salt and
pepper
pepper.
bastard.
Yeah, look at
Yeah.
that. Hey, listen,
Fucking love him.
Clooney. I'll tell you what. Clooney,
I'm not gay, but
I'll tell you what Clooney did back in the Facts of Life days to me. Me and Mrs. Garrett double teamed them.
what?
Thank you.
Double team?
Old,
No.
Used to ask Mrs. Garrett to spank me with a ruler.
I always thought that was Richard Kind when you were doing that.
Oh, that one? No,
That guy.
This is guy.
And it's your buddy.
Richard, yeah, but the guy that I went to school with. Hey, listen, not for nothing, but Kalinowski's got all creepy when Steph started talking about spicy Italians and whatnot. A spicy meatball. I got to go fart in front of my significant other.
Not for nothing.
Not for
Spicy
nothing.
King.
Spicy King.
Spicy white?
I dated a girl named Lorena.
Lorena.
She was real spicy, if you know what I mean. We used to get Chinese food, eat it in the yard.
Lorena. Lorena.
All right, let's
Spicy.
finish this. So Jackie
white.
Chan and Ralph Macchio doing a movie together. The one thing though that is interesting because Sony's doing this movie, obviously,
Okay.
no mention of John Hurwitz, Josh Heald, or Hayden Schlossberg, creators of Cobra Kai, which is
I thought they were tagged into doing something. They're working on something else that's outside.
they've got tons. They're working on.
I
They got
thought
something
that they
on
got
Netflix
like
right now.
the
or
Karate Kid
Amazon.
team is doing this.
Yeah, it just came out. I forget I can't remember the name of it, and I feel bad. But either way, they are. It's not diabolical, is it? I don't remember what it is, but either way, they are not involved in this. I don't think, which is interesting.
Interesting.
Oh, you know what's so random?
Yeah.
One of my improv friends, who's become one of my closest friends this year, she was in Cobra Kai, but I never watched it.
Who?
Annalise Cochran.
Let me see. Hold on. See if I know who she is.
She's just a pure gem of a human.
Okay.
I tell you that. I love her. So talented. She just played Romeo in the Santa Monica Playhouse, Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, she's got a pretty big role.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Get her on the show, Steph.
Okay.
Had everybody else on the show. We had Sholo on the show. We need some more Cobra Kai people on the show.
I'll get her.
I'm sure. So do you think that do you need the Cobra Kai guys in this, or could you do another Karate? Because remember, Karate Kid, don't forget, because this is the one thing, this is the reason
This is
why.
interesting.
Okay, go ahead, man.
I'm listening. You're saying you're like this is. I'm like this is interesting. And I lean closer into the talk.
So it's like your Austin Powers thought came out?
Oh.
It's just like you just thought and spoke? Yeah. All right. So,
Fuck. I'm glad you're back.
well, the reason
Asshole.
the reason why when it comes to people forget this. Karate Kid 1, Karate Kid 2, pretty beloved. Karate Kid 3 was not beloved. And no, it was not.
What
And
about 4?
definitely not.
I didn't mind.
I liked them
fine.
both.
It's fine.
It's fine, but it's not the ones people think about.
It's not the 2.
Those
No.
movies when Cobra Kai season 1 came out,
Mm-hmm.
people were like, oh my god, they're doing Karate Kid again.
And it was on
The
YouTube,
show?
right?
It came out on YouTube,
Yeah.
and I was one of those people. And then you watch it like, oh, these guys like. So all three of those guys, they treat Karate Kid the way that like we treat Star Wars, and you treat DC, and they love it. They love it, and you could tell throughout all the seasons that they're doing, and it's changed in tone as the seasons go on, but it's still super entertaining in general. What I don't want, especially Sony, what they do is because they've revitalized the Karate Kid brand. Like those guys revitalized the brand. They revitalized Ralph Macchio's career. They revitalized William Zabka's career, and I wonder if they were even approached. I would like to, because the reason why I don't think that they were is because when they announced this movie, they announced that a Karate Kid movie was coming. I remember all three of the guys going, I don't know what the hell this is. And they didn't know what it was. I don't even think they consulted with them. You got to consult with them.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because I don't watch the Karate Kid show. This is
You'd love that show.
Jackie Chan is from the movie with Jaden Smith, right?
Yeah.
So that is its own world. And then we got the show, which Jackie Chan's movie, does it reference the Macchio Pat Morita stuff?
It's almost like almost like a multiverse.
Okay. So what are we doing here? Is he Daniel LaRusso?
No, he's not.
He's not going to be Daniel LaRusso.
Oh, no. Ralph Macchio is. I thought you meant Jaden Smith.
No, I know.
Oh, I didn't know if they could have called him.
You
They could have
can't
called him
spicy
Daniel.
white. Can't, no.
But is Jackie Chan being...
He wasn't Mr. Miyagi.
He's not being Miyagi.
So-
because that doesn't make
He
sense.
wasn't Mr. Miyagi. in the
Okay,
other
so
one.
we're getting...
No,
so they're trying to combine two different
it's the
worlds.
same world.
Oh.
Yeah.
But they're trying to combine now two different worlds.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, it's Jackie
But
Chan.
how's-
It's Jackie Chan. You can do whatever. It's like two. It's basically the two guys are going to probably help this new kid, and it combines it. So I
Okay.
think that if they do it the right way,
Do you think
it could work.
they're going to have something like Jackie Chan's like, oh, I knew your old master.
Maybe
Miyagi-san.
Maybe so. No, but
he with the bonsai tries oh, you did wax on, wax off? Yes.
maybe.
I know
but
what that is.
But the question that I have with all of that is that are they going? If they're not going to acknowledge or they're not going to include the guys,
yeah.
are they going to acknowledge that the Cobra Kai universe?
Well, are they shepherds of that franchise or are they...
I don't know. It's going to be
It's
interesting.
an interesting thing how Sony has if it's Sony the movie, and these guys did YouTube with it and then went to Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
I don't know.
It's also funny.
Or is it going to be...
To your point, Jackie Chan can do whatever he want. It's the Karate Kid, which karate is Japanese. And they are doing a kid...
Well, yeah,
But-
Yeah, kung fu
Right,
and
right.
so much
Right.
is Chinese.
Right.
Karate is Japanese.
Yes.
But to your guys' point, the world, social media, internet, they know Cobra Kai
Right now.
now.
Yeah.
And you do remember the 80s Karate Kid. That's so... It did well, the Jackie Chan, Jade Smith, but it's not like a beloved, like...
Younger people that know Cobra Kai, there are going to be a lot of audience that knows Cobra Kai that goes,
Right.
oh, I wonder if this is going to connect, and I wonder if you're going to see Xolo Maridueña, are you going to see, Billy Zabka, are you going to
Yeah.
see... And the answer is probably no, it doesn't seem like
But it should.
It should at least...
In a small way.
In a small way. You should have a cameo
Martin
or something.
Cove.
He doesn't need to... He's got enough of a role in the Cobra Kai. He's got enough of a role.
Maybe I want to see him in it, though.
Oh, well, good for you. All right. But I'm so curious to what everybody thinks on all these topics. There's three big topics today on the casting of Superman. Here we go.
One last thing.
Yeah.
I think the reason we're getting this movie with Macchio and Chan is because Cobra Kai was such a hit.
I just said the exact
Did he?
same thing.
And I don't think so.
I mean, it's literally the point that I made.
You
going
didn't say it in that words, though.
in that words.
Yes.
That was a summary of what he said.
I'm going to bust your nuts off, man. Shut your mouth.
That's my favorite when you realize-
baby.
Swear to God, I'll bust your
I'm gonna
nuts
bust
off.
those nuts off.
All right, listen to me. Thank you for joining me here today. Please follow both Mike and Steph on the twits. Follow us all. We're going to be back. Have a great Thanksgiving. Eat until your faces fall off.
Yeah,
Have a
man.
wonderful, wonderful weekend. Do all of it. Thank you. If you Patreon, man, patreon.com/The Big Thing Show. Once we get to 600 patrons, Mike Kalinowski is going to do 5 minutes of stand-up comedy. And you've seen how hilarious he is today.
That was truly the most exciting thing for
Don't
me.
encourage this.
Do it.
not.
I need this so bad. And I actually think you're going to be great.
Don't do this to me.
It will be so funny.
Well, we'll see. So you guys make sure you sign up today so we can get closer to that goal. But once again, if you're brand new to the channel and never been here before, please subscribe to it. For myself, Mike Kalinowski, and Steph Sabra, see you next week.